And we are live. Hello, everyone. Hello, Remy. Hello, Annie. And thanks for sharing it on your community tab. I'm just going to wait maybe 1 minute to let people tag along. I wanted to ask you, did you reach your 4,000?
Yes, I got in the night last night, and I only did that 2-minute video yesterday, and only 10 people looked at it, but they gave me 250 hours in the middle of the night, so I wound up being I was way over my hours. I made it this morning.
Amazing!
So I only needed 41, but the karaoke video really helped.
I saw it. It was 3 hours.
Mm-hmm. And there was almost 40 people in it the whole time.
Nice. I'm super happy for you. You've been working so hard for that.
It's taken me over 3 years.
3 years. Wow. Well, now at least like
you're I put my heart into this couple.
Well, it's hard. Like when you have young kids, like I have to maintain 2 channels, a French one and an English one. And I do 1 live, 2 videos for the English and 1 video for the French. And I'm pulling myself thin. Like during the summer, I get exhausted by, I would say, August, and I just push through till October, and then I crash with everything I have to do at home. Hello, Jill.
My kids are not cooperative.
They're not always. But, I'm sure one day they're going to recognize what you do and have much more respect.
My last 2 at home are adopted, and they're special needs. So we don't need to expect them to appreciate anything.
Well, special need kids is a difference for sure.
Yeah.
So tell us where you're from, the people in the chat, where you're logging in from.
I am from the middle of Michigan, and I have lived here pretty much all of my life, except for a small portion of time in Florida.
In Florida?
I've traveled a lot. Yes.
Did you enjoy Florida?
I have traveled a lot. I did. My mother did not. So we moved back to Michigan because Florida was too hot.
Well, it does get hot. Like I remember going there in the winter and it was 23 degrees and I was like super happy. And people telling me that 23 degrees is cold. They get even worse than that. So I'm like, okay. During the summer, it goes up like crazy. So I can only imagine. Hello, Lynn. Thanks for coming in. Upstate New York. Is that close from you?
Me? No.
No?
No. That's about 10 to 12 hour drive from here.
Okay, that's far.
Yeah.
Just give me a second.
You're only 4 hours from me. To put it in perspective. You're about 4 hours from me, maybe 5.
I'm 8 hours from New York.
Mm-hmm.
About, if I have no traffic. So
you're kind of in the middle.
I'm like, when you go up north, 50 minutes away from my house, I'm next to the Ontario border. Mm-hmm. So yeah, 4 or 5 hours sounds fine. Sounds about right. I just have a moderator that just messaged me. Just give me a sec. I had like 2 moderators, usually 2, 3, and I think there's only Remy with me tonight. Okay, he's coming later. No worries. Okay, so I'm going to ask 1 question to the viewers here, and then I will start asking you a couple of questions so that we can get within the subject. People that are canning, let me know what you enjoy to can and why you do it. And when we pause during the conversations today, I will read you. So you tell us, Tammy, that you're from Michigan. And I would like to know a little bit about yourself. Do you garden? Do you have a farm? Do you have a homestead?
I have been living in town recently, and I just sold my house in town and moved to 6 acres out in the country.
Nice.
It has a tiny house, shed to house on it. My neighbors don't even know it's a house. Shh, don't tell them. They don't know.
Okay, well, only 6 people plus us knows now.
I'm not actually out there yet. I'm still staying at my daughter's because I don't have my wood stove hooked up, and Michigan winters are a little too cold to be without a stove or heat.
Okay.
I bought the property about 5 years ago. I started putting in a food forest, which is not easy to do in a northern climate. And there's not a lot of us out there doing that. So I have fruit trees in place. I have a lot of perennial vegetables and herbs in place. And I started with a vegetable garden 3 years ago. In the ground, nothing grew. Like, okay. So I built some raised beds, filled it with dirt, planted another garden, and nothing grew because I had no pollinators.
Well, that could be a problem.
So I became a beekeeper.
Nice.
So when I started out there, I had horses, I had sheep, I had goats, I've had cows in the past, and of course chickens, and geese. When my horse passed away, I got rid of all the animals out there, and now I'm starting all over again. I have chickens and ducks and one little rabbit for fertilizer purposes.
Mm-hmm.
He's my home fertilizer factory. He's a pet. And so I'm just kind of starting over on the animal side of things. I've really been working on getting my infrastructure in place and getting outbuildings built for them and stuff like that. So we'll probably gear that back up this year, but just kind of going this time. I've had an entire petting zoo before on other property I've owned. So
it scales up quite fast. It scales up quite fast. You start with chickens and ducks and this and that and this and that.
Yes. And yeah.
So you're pretty much going back to homesteading lifestyle once you have your wood stove installed there?
Yes.
Nice.
So I've got big plans for a garden this year. We'll see if any of them pan out.
Well, if you have bees, you should have success. They normally help. Okay, I have answers.
When you're sitting out there in a meadow that's not mowed and there's nothing, like just a couple butterflies, and you're like, well, that's why I have flowers on my zucchini, but no fruit.
Yeah, well, the first couple of years, my first year, I had 0 pollinators here. Well, not 0. I didn't have much, but the ones that I had were it's because I have fields 1 or 2 kilometers away from my house. So I did have a little bit, but I had to manually pollinate a lot of my squash, and I would tap on my tomatoes and my peppers or just shake them to make sure that they would pollinate. It started getting better, I would say, year 3, once I established a flower garden. Like I would have some in front, some on the side of the house, some in the garden, some interplanted. And this year and next year, I'm focusing on perennials, like so that I don't have that much work to do with flowers. But every year they're coming back. So it's with your food forest and you being there all the time, it should help.
Yeah, and I've done a lot of perennial flowers, so nice. Hopefully there'll be a lot to feed the bee.
Okay, so we have Annie from Mama Homemade that says she loves canning. Remy, I don't can much yet, but my favorite canner are on screen at the moment because I can a little bit. I can because I enjoy it. It also makes me feel closer to my grandmother. I love to can jam, pickles, salsa, and pizza sauce. I totally agree. I just started pressure canning, but I love to can broth. It's so much more convenient than freezing it.
Yes.
I can so I can feed my family with food that I know where it comes from and how it was produced. I can a whole lot of things. Hello, Digs Outdoors. This is the first time I see you here. Welcome to the channel. Purchased like 5 or 6 boxes of mason jars, but was told by my friend that we might need them for maple syrup, so I need to buy more. Lots more.
That's a good problem.
Well, mason jars, we always think that like 5, 6 cases is enough, but it always ends up that it's never enough. You always need more.
Do you know how many jars it takes? I'm going to ask you a question. Do you know how many jars it takes to feed a family of 4 just lunch and dinner for a year?
Does that mean not
fresh
buying
in season?
Like not buying anything from the grocery store?
Not buying anything from the grocery store, just eating fresh fruits and vegetables out of your garden in season and eating out of jars the rest of the year.
Well, I can 400 jars, but I still have to buy some stuff. So I'm going to say between 800 and 1,000.
Right on. It's 1,000 jars.
Oh, I was 1,000
quarts. 1,000 quarts. 1,000 quarts will feed a family of 4 for the year, the part of the year you don't have a garden.
Okay, so a quart, for the some that don't know, it's a 1 liter jar. Well, approximately 1 liter jar. Yes. Hello, Danielle. Jill says she cans everything. We were going to start. I'm sorry?
There's a joke at my house that I can everything that doesn't walk away.
Okay. It's a little funny joke. We were going to start bees this year, but almost all the beekeepers in the area have had major losses this year, 90% loss. Bees sometimes can be a very, very hard with lost. By the way, Annie, back to Basics Homestead. I say my favorite candles, Prill, both of you. I think this message is for you. Digs Outdoors saying hi. He or she is from your channel.
Yes. Yes.
Nope, never enough. That's true. I'd say, Remy, before you gave the answer, said it was 750. But that's a family of 4, 2 adults, 2 kids, or 4 adults.
4 adults, basically.
4. Okay. Well, it makes sense. It does make sense. 1,000 jars. We're 5, so it probably would be more. Yeah. We are a family of 8, and her goal this year, Annie, is 1,200 jars. I really hope you get that done. Yeah. So how many years have you been canning?
50.
50 so you've years. Been canning all your life? Mostly all your life?
Well, wow. I'm 55. We're not telling it. We're telling all my secrets today. And I remember being 5 years old and canning with my mom.
Nice.
My dad would go fishing, and my mom and I would be in the camper canning as fast as he could fish for it. It's not really poaching, and it's not really poaching if you put it all in the canner. Your limit is only those that are not in the can yet, right?
Well, the laws were not the same in those times, so.
No, yeah, the laws were different then, but we ate every bit of it. We didn't waste anything, and all of the other pieces and parts went back for fertilizer too. So,
in the water or in the soil?
Back home in our garden, my dad put all of the
carcasses in the garden.
Yes, every fruit tree got fish heads and tails buried underneath it.
Nice. Your trees must have been blooming.
They were beautiful.
I would love to have that moment with my parents canning. I'm not saying unfortunately, but I was brought up in like a suburban house where it was the 9 to 5 for everyone, and I wasn't really raised with a garden, so I have to learn everything from scratch. But I do hope that one of my kids, or at least all of them, actually knows about it when they're adults, because they see me do it all summer long. Well, sometimes even in the fall or in the spring.
I think that's
What
the
is?
greatest gift you can give your kids.
I think so
to teach
too.
them to be self-sufficient and to feed themselves and to feed their families.
I find that gardening, canning, preserving, cooking, baking, those are they're precious skills to teach the younger generation. Like if the friends of my kids come here, like at one point we'll be able to have the kids back in the house when their friends come here. If I can teach one of their friends the same thing, like the passion of one of those things, it would be even more amazing if I can expose it to the future generations, because it's a precious gift. Do you prefer pressure canning or water bathing canning?
It depends what I'm keeping, because meat I pressure can, but vegetables I pressure can, but fruits I don't want to pressure can them, they would turn to mush. So for fruits I use my water bath. So it really depends on what I'm canning.
Okay. So you don't have like a favorite recipe to do?
No.
Okay.
Oh no. My favorite recipe is the one I haven't tried yet.
That's a good way of putting it, because it's a never-ending trial of new recipes.
Yeah.
Do you have like a sort of a system? Do you count your jars? Do you inventorize your jars?
I am really bad at that. I don't. I know how many I want, and so I try to make sure that I have, those kind of lined up, but I don't really count, other than like I know I need to do 3 bushels of tomatoes as stewed tomatoes, and then I need to do more bushels of tomatoes as sauces kind of thing. I don't really count my jars anymore because I do kind of a 2-year rotation.
Okay.
So I always kind of have a few more left over from the year before that come to the front, and I rotate more to the back.
So you always keep like a live inventory. You try not to run out of something. Oh, that's good.
Yes.
I don't count enough. I always end up using most of my stuff. This year I might carry over 18 months. We'll see. I'm starting to get, because I only can what I have coming out of the garden. I no longer buy bulk produce. This year, the only bulk produce I bought was celery, cauliflower, and carrots. That was it. But that was to try a new recipe, because I pickled all my cauliflower. But if I didn't find a deal, I wouldn't have bought it. Did I see questions?
Yeah.
Can't imagine the jars I'll need for 5 teens. I don't want to get there yet. Mine are still young, so I don't want to count there. Wow, I would never. Yes.
My kids would eat a quart of applesauce and a quart jar of pickles every day if I'd let them. But I can't possibly can that many in season, even buying produce in bulk. It's just a never ending.
Well, pickle, you can ferment them in big crocks, but it won't be the same.
I did finally get a big crock, so I
could try it.
Do that. Yeah.
I found I found out that you can ferment in 5-gallon buckets.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So if they love the crispiness of pickles and they don't mind the ferment, you can maybe try to ferment like big buckets, but they would have to finish it faster. I'm still new to fermenting. I think it's 4 months. I think it's 4 to 6 months. It's not as long as canning for sure.
No.
I would never have guessed you were over 50. Jimmy says that. That's a nice compliment.
Thank you.
You are an expert canner. That is definitely for you, not for me. I've only been canning for 4 or 5 years. How many jars do you can a year? Tammy answered that she doesn't count. Last year, I was near 400, but I was supposed to pressure can my broth, but I never got to it. So if I would have canned that, I probably would have reached 400, 425, but I know that I was under that. But I can.
If anybody wants jam, by the way, I have way too much jam. I've got to find some small batch recipes because our family doesn't eat all the jam I've been canning to do videos on.
Do you guys love granola bars or like what do you call it in English? It's like a jelly soft bar.
Yes,
Venison for dinner has a recipe to use up jam. It's like a soft oatmeal type of snack bar. You can add the jam. You can do fruits, applesauce. It's on our blog. I've tried it. It's delicious. It's super simple also to slap in together. And it uses up to 5 cups of jam.
Ooh, perfect.
So if you have a leftover.
Like that.
So she suggests to try all types of jam. And there's not a specific jam that she suggests. She says any type of jam, 4 or 5 cups. So if you have a lot, you can try that.
Good idea.
When I had a daycare, I had all the kids helping with the garden. They loved it. That must have been nice.
That's a good skill.
Yeah, well, she's making like a 2-for-1. Daycare, taking care of kids, teaching them about life. It's wonderful. I have never counted either. I will try this year. Yes, it's cereal bars. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. It's oats cereal bars, and it's really nice.
I have a bunch of oats that need used up, so that would be the perfect recipe for that.
Nice. So 2-for-1, using what you have, make a solution with a problem. What tips or tricks would you give out to a newbie that's like super fresh and has no idea where to start, either with water bathing or pressure canning?
I guess the first tip I would say is just invest in a pressure canner first, because you can use your pressure canner as a water bath canner.
Okay.
So if you can only afford one, buy a pressure canner. And then the second tip is to get a really good canning book that has the times for each ingredient, so that you know what time and pressure you need to do your food at. So that has a good table, like the Ball Blue Book, or I think in Canada it's Jardin.
We have access to the Blue Book, the Ball Blue Book. We have access to the Bernardin book.
Yeah, that's it.
We also have access to the All Complete Ball, Home Preserving, something like that. It's my favorite book. If you guys want to check it out, I think I've put the link in the description of each of my video. It's Ball. Anyways, it's a very long name, but it's Ball that makes it. It's the 2011 version.
This is the one, the most. Oops.
That's the Blue Book.
One. Yep, that's the one I use. Even I use it. Just to
I've
double check.
I've heard about the Blue Book. I've never seen it in stores here. If I want to get it, I have to get it off Amazon. And I find that the prices are not that bad. But I find that if you want to invest in your material in Canada, I don't know if in the United States it's like that. I find that in January, February, or at the end of the season, that's when you should invest, because online, I don't know why they started putting up the prices slowly. And sometimes it's $10 every single time you're going to go check it out. Like I bought my book, I think it was $20-something, and it's almost double now.
Yeah, spring and summer into early fall, when everybody's canning, it's really high. And then you wait till winter, and then the prices drop again. Yeah,
I realized that. I bought many things, not like I was a newbie, didn't know, and then I realized that sometimes there's $100 of difference on our Canadian websites, like for big machines or even pressure canners. And I find it weird, because it's the exact same product. There's nothing different. It's the same box. They're not adding new, like, let's just say they were doing like a special, adding like a book with it or some jars with it. But no, it's the same box, same model, same everything. And it could go up like drastically. So if you guys are looking to invest this year, either do it now or within the next week, because it's going to skyrocket in April for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Can you give us the difference about water bathing and pressure canning? Oh, no worries. I'll read the comments. I think Tammy has a little.
Sorry.
No worries.
Someone pop in and interrupt.
Did you understand the question?
Can you say it again? I'm sorry.
No worries. Can you explain to us the difference between water bathing and pressure canning?
So water bathing is for foods that are high in natural acids, like fruits. So you can do a lot of fruits, jams, jellies, pickles, because you add vinegar to them, which is an acid. You do those, especially like pickles, that'll keep them crisper. You don't want to do these foods in the pressure canner because they would just turn to mush.
Okay.
So, and then the pressure canner is for foods that are low acid, especially meats and vegetables, and especially like root vegetables. You would want to pressure can unless you pickle them.
So like broth is pressure canning.
Yes.
And for someone that is like brand new to pressure canning, what is the first recipe that you would suggest to start with?
Boneless chicken breast.
Boneless chicken breast. Okay.
It's really easy. You can find it. It's very economical as far as meats go. Very easy to pack in a jar, put some water in there with it, pressure can it, and then you can open that jar up and make so many different really good meals very quickly. And when you realize that you can make a meal in 15 minutes because you opened up something you've already cooked, and have a meal on the table 15, 20 minutes later for your family, quicker than getting in your car, going and doing takeout and coming home, and it's healthier.
Do you dice it or whole?
I do them whole. I can usually put a couple chicken breasts in each jar.
So you take like 2-3 average size breasts and you put them in a quart size jar?
Yes, or pints. Right now I'm doing a lot more pints because my family is scaled back down to just the three of us, and
so I'm
teenagers,
guessing
they don't eat on the same schedule, so I do like 2 breasts and a pint.
2 breasts would fit in a pint?
Yeah, unless they're real big ones, but yeah.
Okay.
You really want to pack your meat in because it really shrinks down a lot.
Okay.
So you want to really pack your meat in. And I always put water on mine. I know you could raw pack it, but I like to keep the moisture in my meat. And I like a lot of gravies.
Okay.
I really like gravy. So I usually take put the water in it because then it makes its own broth. Then I can use that broth to make, I'll make instant potatoes, and by the time I've got the chicken heated up, instant potatoes and made gravy, I've got potatoes and gravy in 20-25 minutes.
If you raw pack it, there's going to be barely no liquid, right?
Right. It's going to draw the moisture out of the chicken, but you only have about this much in a jar this tall. Okay. And that won't be enough to make gravy with my dinner.
Raw packing, I'm not sure everyone understands what it means. Like, I know what it is, but I don't think everyone does. Do you want to explain it?
Raw packing is when you put raw meat in a canning jar, put a lid, ring, and pressure can it without any added liquid.
So you're left with just the liquid that's within the meat?
Just what comes out of the chicken itself, or the beef or pork or whatever.
Okay. I missed a couple of comments when I read that. That's not for me. I know we started garden. That's not for me. I have never counted. Okay, I read that.
I have, while you're looking for a question, I have one more tip on my boneless chicken breast. Do not tell my children, but my boneless chicken breasts or my canned chicken is 99% canned turkey because I can buy them cheaper. So I buy them between, again, we're telling all my secrets today on your show. Okay? My kids don't like turkey. Don't tell them they do. If they won't eat it, don't tell them what it is. They'll eat it.
Well, I think canned turkey there's a little bit more fat in it.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be less dry if you can. Oh, she had someone. So I'm going to read the comments. Are you there? Okay, no, I'm going to read the comments. That's not for me. I got both. Did you understand the question? You want me to say it again?
One more time. I think
when you can turkey, I was told that turkey is a little bit more fat than chicken. Does that mean when you can it, it's less dry, even though you put it in liquid?
Well, the fat, there's flavor in that fat.
Okay.
So you get a little bit more, your broth is more flavorful.
Okay.
So you will get a little skim of fat on top of each jar more than you do with chicken. But there's more flavor to it when you do it that way.
I find that my broth is different when I do it with turkey than with chicken. I find that there's more fat when I do it with turkey, but I can't describe it. There's something different about the broth. The color is different, the taste is different, and both of them were raised here, so it's not something that I bought at the store. But like you're explaining it, the fat makes the difference.
There's a flavor. It's just a little richer.
Ball is the same company as Bernardin. So Ball is for United States, Bernardin is for Canada, but in the end, it's the exact same thing. No worries, Angie. Welcome. Good to know. Boneless chicken breast. I guess we're gonna get some chicken breast soon. That's not for me. That's not for me. Oh, Tammy uses those giant chickens.
I love those giant chickens. I get on sale between November and December because we have our Thanksgiving and then Christmas. They're always on sale. You buy X number of groceries, you get it one free. Oh, here, your boss loves you. Here's a free turkey.
Nice. We don't have that here.
Oh, we used to, when I worked in the healthcare field, we used to get a free turkey every year at Christmas.
Nice. No, well, before whatever's going on right now happened, we used to have $25 to a grocery store. Nice. And we had that for Christmas and we had that for Thanksgiving. So it is almost the equivalence of buying a turkey, almost, because I would say for a family of 5, the turkey we had to buy, if I would buy like the frozen one, it would be around $20 to $30, depending if I get it on special or not. So it's like if they were buying the turkey without buying it. So
right.
But now they no longer do it. I don't know why. No, this year what they did for Christmas, they sent us out a website. Well, I don't no longer work, but my husband still works where I used to work, and they sent us a link to buy something, and I bought myself some stainless steel bowls, to cook in them, 5 quarts, and it came with a snap lid that you can put adapters like to shred chicken, shred the cheese, and mandolin. I'm like, okay, they're giving us something.
Fingers.
I don't use mandolins. I chopped off the end of one of my fingers.
Yes. I don't use them either.
I don't. But
if I'm going to use a mandolin, I pre-Band-Aid every finger because I know it's gonna come.
Yeah, it's gonna be dangerous, and it's gonna be dangerous and a lot of blood. Yeah, no, I bought a mandolin. I sold it. I got myself hurt like real bad, and then I saw something else that would replace my mandolin, and I cut myself again. I said, "Screw this!" Oh, sorry. And no, I rather have uneven stuff. But I am planning on buying it's an investment. A food processor that has the mandolin attachment. Yes. Well, it's not the mandolin, but it does the same thing.
I really love to chop things. It really gets my inner aggression out. I have a ulu. I love my ulu knife I can get all of that frustration right out in a good, oh, hey, how many potatoes do I need? I'm gonna share it.
Well, whatever works. Whatever works. I'm sorry if I'm not saying this right. Schmoopy, welcome to the chat. This is the first time I see you. Hello, ladies. How would I can fully cooked corned beef hash from St. Patty's Day? I'm new to canning. Thank you. I don't know how to answer that.
Well, I'm going to give you two answers. Number one, because it was corned, it is not USDA approved to can. Now, because I'm a rebel, I'm going to tell you that it's meat. It's still meat. And I would can it for the meat time. There's two ways I'm going to can it because I'm looking for it on sale right now and it didn't drop yet. But you can can it whole and put water in the jar because I like water. I don't like to pull the meat out. And since it's already been pickled, it's got a lot of the juices have been kind of dried out of it. So I would put it whole or chunk it into canning jars and do it for the meat time. So 75 minutes for pints and 90 minutes for quarts. The other way I would do it is I would chop it all up. I would get raw potatoes. I would chop them all up into tiny cubes, throw them into a jar together, fill it up with water, and can corned beef hash. Onions too, if you like onions in it.
That's a very detailed explanation. So cook the turkey chicken, then put boiling water over it.
I raw pack.
So she's talking about the first recipe, correct?
Yes, the chicken recipe. I raw pack.
So you put the raw meat within the jar, then you add a bit of water, and you said salt, right?
Yes, it's a half teaspoon for a pint or up to a teaspoon for a quart. Remember, the salt is only in there for flavor. So if you are like me and you don't like salt, then don't put so much in it. Also, make sure you're using a canning salt or a non-iodized salt. A lot of people get weirded out because they see little black specks on their food, and that's from the iodine and iodized salt. So be sure to use a canning salt or a non-iodized salt.
That was one of my questions.
Sorry.
No worries. We're going to say so many things today, but I'm sure there's going to be more questions. So if ever there's a part 2, I'm going to note the questions that everyone has, and we can do this again if you're open to it. Another new one, Cajun Hydroponic. Hello and welcome.
I just want to thank Cajun Hydroponics. They came on my channel as a guest, and just so you know, Cajun, I got my hours. Thank you.
So you can't wait to get that email confirmation saying that you're part of the program now.
I mailed it out. It's in processing. It just says processing. So
well, it can take probably, like my community tab, it took 6 days. So I'm sure it's going to take about the same time for you to have your
And my hours never roll over on the weekends. So when they gave me over 250 hours last night in the night, and I woke up this morning and was 200 hours over what I needed plus, I was just like, what?
Well, YouTube doesn't work on the weekends. You should know that.
I know. Why did they do it today? But all the little checks were checked. I'm like, wait, what? Why did I even check it? I didn't even look.
Well, they have to have some time off. Poor thing.
It's okay.
Okay, I'm up. Am I up to date? Oh, I said it nice. I said it perfectly. I roast turkey first.
Yes, you can. I just raw pack it because it's quicker.
It's quicker. That I was going to say, when you did give your example of raw packing, the reason why people raw pack is because it's quicker, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. And it's more versatile for future recipes. That's what I understood.
It's about the same. I mean,
about the same. Well, if you roast it with a specific recipe, specific ingredients, it's less versatile. If you just cook it, it would be versatile.
Yes.
That live stream is going straight in my watch again later, multiple time list. I am happy to help because, like, I know canning is It's stressful. When I started water bath canning, I don't know why. I still don't understand why. I was terrified. But there's nothing to be afraid. If you like you said, if you have a good book, you have the jars and you follow the instructions and the safety instructions.
Yes.
Because safety is important. You should be fine. You will
when you're starting out, follow that chart. That's why I said beginners buy a book that has the chart with the times and know where your pressure is. Because like I know my pressure is 10, but if I were in the mountains of Colorado, it'd be 15. If I'm in Florida, it's 5. Because wherever you are by sea level, you need to know with what your pressure is.
Yeah, I realized that I was following other channels with their recipe, and some of them were doing similar recipe, and they were not pressure canning at the same pound per pressure. And that's where I figured that there was elevation levels with water bath canning and with pressure canning. So when you guys follow a recipe, make sure that you check out your elevation so that you time accordingly and you use the correct weight if you're using pressure canners. That's not for me. That's not for me. That is great to hear. Congratulations, Tammy. It's super exciting for you to reach it. Like I followed your last week super close to make sure when you achieve it. That's not for me. Yes, and for the liquid, I use broth.
Yes. So if you roast the turkey first, then you can use your broth. I kind of feel like it's a 2-for-1 for me. When I do the raw packing of the turkey, I take the carcass then and make broth separate. So then I have a double thing.
I do that too now. When I roast chicken, I put a little bit more water than I would normally do. At the bottom of my roaster. So I have my chicken and then I can scoop up a little bit of that liquid, make gravy, and then have a soup for next day.
Yes. And I love to save when I'm like making my vegetable tray at Thanksgiving. I save all the ends of my celery and all the tops of my celery and all the little pieces and make a big rich vegetable broth too with it, or put it in my turkey broth.
When you do your broth and you use the edge, do you wash them?
I wash them, I make my broth, and then I strain them out. So then it's only broth in the jar, not the vegetable pieces. And then all those cooked vegetable pieces I throw out to my chickens, and they get a treat too then.
Yeah, I do that too. They love those soft carrots, and it's good for them too. It's good for their health. Remy says, Danny, I guess it's Tammy, not Danny. I felt like it was a club Friday, got drunk and everything. I think he's referencing your karaoke live.
Yes. Cajun Hydroponics that helped host it. I was the host and they came in and helped sing and do the karaoke, had the karaoke machine. It's named Danny. So he's...
That must have been fun. Doing good. Okay, that's not for me. Okay, dinner is ready. Talk to you. Bye. You must be gone by now, but thanks for coming in. Smoopy says, I'm terrified. Haha, I have the water bath equipment. Water bath. He's the one I think that asked the question for the corned meat. So I would suggest to use the pressure canner, not the water bath.
Yes, definitely. The recipe I gave was for pressure canning, not for water bathing.
I have been water bath canning for over 20 years, but I was so nervous to try pressure canning. Thank goodness for my YouTube. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. We've talked about the book. That was a question I was going to ask you. I did that. Oh, this is one that you suggested. Why do you feel it's becoming more and more important to learn how to can?
Because when you go to the grocery store shelves, there's not always everything that you want there. When things were going on and everybody was at home more, I could not find the beans that I usually use, the mixed beans for my bean soup. So having some cans of ham and beans on my shelf meant that my son still got his favorite meal, even though I couldn't find it on the grocery shelf. I could still find it in my pantry at home.
Do you bulk buy your beans?
I do. I go right to the grain elevator. I don't know if you where they dry them. So the farmers take all their beans from the field and they take them to these big, tall, cylindrical towers, and it's called an elevator. And they're usually right by train tracks, and the elevator dries the beans and then ships them to the next stage in that whole thing, that packages them and then sells them to the stores. So I skip all of that and I just buy them right from the grain elevator. It's cheaper if you buy them. The bigger the package you buy, the cheaper the beans are.
The ones I have next to my house is corn and soy, but in Canada we do not have access to that. The only bulk option we have, I'm so because of that, is Costco, but they don't have everything. And the other one I recently found is OM Food. It's an organic certified company, Canadian company. I think it's in Alberta or Manitoba. I'm not sure. But the shipping in Canada is beyond pricey. So let's just say that I buy like bulk, I can have like a $50 to $60 charge just in shipping. We don't have Azure Standard here. I wish we had Azure Standard. It would be so easy.
I would have to drive 2 hours to get to one. So
really?
A drop. Yeah, I don't have one close to where I live. They have them in the southern part of my state, but not up where I live.
Well, at least you found a solution.
Yeah.
Like this year, I'm trying to grow my dry beans. Like I do the black turtle, the navy bean, the kidney red bean, and I'm trying the navy, the black bean. I have 4. What's it called? Kennedy yellow-eyed something.
Oh, yes. Kennebec.
I think it's that. So since I can't find them bulk here, well, I'm going to try to grow as much as I can here. And then if ever Walmart has a deal or I find special somewhere, I'll buy the rest there. It's for sure I won't be able to grow all the beans that I require.
This year after New Year's, because black-eyed peas is something in the south of the United States, not up here. For New Year's, it's good luck to eat black-eyed peas.
Okay.
So I went into Walmart and they had a big shelf of 10-cent packages of black-eyed peas. So I bought a lifetime supply of black-eyed peas at 10 cents a package. I think I bought 10 pounds. Don't think I'm hoarding or anything. A lifetime supply is about 10 pounds for me. I'll never eat that much black-eyed peas.
And they're dried?
They're dried peas. Yep.
Okay, so you store them in an airlock?
Yes. I actually I don't vacuum seal them. I just put them in a big gallon.
Oh, with that twist,
jar.
That twist drum. I don't know how you call it. It's
just a glass jar, like a big. We get our pickles in 1 gallon jars. It's just a big pickle jar.
I would love to have those jars in our stores. We don't have gallons in our store. We only have the half ones because those jars are super expensive to buy. And Costco went down. They no longer have the gallons. They only have the half gallons. I would love to get those. I would buy pickles just for that.
I do. I'm like, here, kids, eat these pickles so I can have the jar. Can you hurry up and get the pickles out of the jar? I really need them.
Yeah, that's what I used to do. And well, the half gallons are not all that bad because I can do my kefir in it, my water kefir. But I broke my last one, so that I have to go buy olives again at Costco. Oh no! So I can get.
You can recan olives. You can put them in smaller jars and recan them.
Oh, they don't last that long here.
No, they don't last that long here either. But I'm just saying, if you could recan them, if you.
Let's just say I buy the 1.5 gallon, well, the half gallon. Is the black olives, the Kalamata ones. I think. I'm not exaggerating. We can eat the whole jar in 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
We love black olives. Like, it's super, like, the green olives, the kids don't necessarily love them, but they prefer the black. I don't get it. Usually kids love the green olives.
Yeah.
not the black, but here it's the cottage cheese. It's not the same thing. I never understood that. I do nachos, and I would see kids removing the olives out of the nachos. Here, my kids are like,
my kids are like your kids, but they like them because they can put them on their fingers and then eat them off their fingers.
They do the same thing. My daughter the green ones. There's stuffing inside. She removes the stuffing. She knows it's pepper, but she's like, I don't like it. She puts finger. It's like those chips, those Ringolos chips. When we were young, I used to do that too, but at least that is healthier. I think, thanks you very much. I did catch that about the pressure canning. I have decided not to can the cooked hash. I have a lot to learn. It is a learning process. I'm still not into pressure canning. I have to take it out of the box. So I have to do that before. I have to do it before summer comes. Like my freezer is full of broth, and I really have to empty my freezers, wash it, and clean it before I put in the new chickens. Mm-hmm. But it's those big ones, those humongous that you can fit like bodies inside. So taking that one out is like a heck of a job. I do that every couple of years. Like I unthaw it, clean it, and then bring it back inside the house. And we swear every single time we take it out of the house. Our Costco here doesn't even have everything the USA Costco's do. It's so frustrating. I know people who make trips to the USA just for groceries. Well, if it's dry food, I don't see why you can cross the border. But if it's fresh food, maybe you can have problems. I don't think dry food would be a problem, and there's limits. I don't know. I've never done it, but I know there's limits to cross.
Yeah, every time I cross, they ask me if I have any fresh fruits or vegetables. And I just go up into Ontario and tend my grandmother's grave and great-grandparents' graves and come back. And they still are like, do you have any fresh fruits and vegetables? I'm like, no, I went to the cemetery.
Well, it's their job. They're doing their job. They're only doing what they're being asked to do.
But they ask every time. So I think they'd probably have a problem if you had.
Let's see if we can grow all our beans this year, Annie. I am growing beans too for the first time this year. Beans are pretty easy. Like, you just sow them, they do their thing, they dry out, and you just have to be a little bit more careful when you dry them out to make sure that they're super dry. Gamma lids. I don't know what that is.
That's a lid that goes on a 5-gallon bucket instead of having to like break your fingers trying to peel them back up.
Oh yeah, the twist one.
It's the twisty.
Okay, that's the one I was looking for. Thank you. We get so gipped here in Canada. Okay, I'm a French person. Lynn, what does gip mean? I guess.
I think gypped means shortchanged, cheated.
Probably that's what it means. And Remy is sharing your channel. Thank you, Remy, for doing that for us. Did you want to add anything for the question I says, why do you feel it's so important? Or you just meant at large with everything going on and the food shortage?
Even before everything that was going on and the shortage, the shipping shortages and things everything not being in every store like we're used to. It's just important to teach our kids because my parents went through the Great Depression where, there was economic hardships and people had to learn to do for themselves with very little. And I think if we can teach our kids to be frugal and do for themselves, it costs a lot more to go out to eat than it does to make a meal at home.
For sure.
If we can teach our children that, we actually make them richer. Both personally and financially.
I try to teach that to my kids. Here, every Friday night is pizza night. And it's frozen vegetables from the garden, pickled vegetables from the garden, pizza sauce from the garden. Obviously, I can't do flour. Like, my land is like way too small and I'm only one person, so I have to buy flour in bulk. And our neighbors in front, every Friday night, it's pizza night, but they buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And last time we've purchased pizza for us 5, I swear when I got the bill, it was close to $50. I think it was $45. So it was a large pizza for us 5, a family fry, and that was it. So plus tax and tips and stuff like that. So
last night was pizza night for us, and it was over $40 for 2 pizzas, 2 very large pizzas.
So it goes up quite fast. So I told my kids, if I make it myself, and it's and I don't do sourdough, I just do it with regular store-bought yeast, I'm sure with the amount of money that I spend to buy 1 pizza night, I can feed ourselves pizza nights for at least 6 months or 4 months every Friday night, buying bulk flour in like doing all the counting myself. I'm sure that with that $40 to $50, I can do at least 8 to 10 pizzas for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But they're still kids, so they don't understand that, because they want, the restaurant style pizza, super greasy, super fat, and questionable meat and questionable cheese. And but
See,
now
last night we splurged on the really good pizza place. My son likes Little Caesars, which used to be $5 a pizza, but now it's $6. And when I'm trying to explain money to him, I'll be like, well, that's 5 pizzas. I can't buy that for you today because that's 5 pizzas worth of money. So that's how I explain money to him.
Well, once in a while we splurge ourselves, but my husband and I, our stomach, when we splurge too much, like fatty food, our stomach is angry the next couple of days, and the next day our mouth is super dry because it's super salty food. Like the cheese is super salty, the meat is super salty, and my husband has food sensibility. So if there's any corn in what we eat, the next day he's gonna be under the weather because there's probably a lot of corn in everything that we were eating. So I prefer taking that $50 or $40 and just do most of the recipe myself, and make that money last longer.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the one thing I hope I can teach my kids is homemade meals can make your money go further on so many levels. Yeah, you can stretch it. I interrupted you.
No, that's it. I was just going to say it stretches it. I was just agreeing.
When I first started beans, I was so confused about green beans, wax beans, and string beans. Okay, well, the wax, I've never grown it, so I don't know. But the string, I kind of got caught with that one. I bought the wrong variety of beans, and when you eat it, like you have like that piece of it stuck. And I serve those types of bean at Thanksgiving to my parents and the people I received at Thanksgiving, and I forgot to remove the strings. It was a funny evening. We were like, oops. Like now I know there's a difference. And there's pole bean, bush beans, just like that, and there's dry beans. The wax bean, I don't know what those are though.
They're the yellow ones.
Every single yellow bean is a wax bean?
Well, that's what we call wax beans, are the yellow. They look like green beans, but they're yellow.
Okay.
When they're ripe.
Tammy, I'm thinking you never had moose meat, but would you say it's same as canned beef, or would it be different since it's wild meat?
No, it's the same as beef. I haven't canned moose, but I have eaten it, and it is the same process for moose as you would for beef.
I'm eating pizza I made in the air fryer as we speak. Ooh, bon appetit.
I just got an air fryer at Christmas, so
I'm so not on that wagon yet. I still haven't purchased one yet. I refuse to make that investment because they're so expensive, and we need the big one because I would have to do like multiple cooking, and I don't have that much time. But I know one day I'm going to end up getting one. Barbecue-based pizza is the best. I've never tried that. What can you give me a little bit more details? I'm guessing it's barbecue meat that you put. I'm guessing that's what it is.
Yeah, I think that's what she means. Or she may even use a barbecue sauce in her red sauce on her pizza. I've seen them do that
I've
too.
used pulled chicken that I've put my barbecue sauce that I made, and then I put that on my cheese that was on my pizza. So if that's it, that I've already done it. The kids didn't enjoy it. I don't know why, because I usually do meatless pizza and I put meat, and they were all confused. I don't know why.
Oh, she does use barbecue sauce instead of pizza sauce.
Instead of pizza. Oh, okay. I would have to try that. You just use any type of pizza sauce, Angie, and then you add cheese on top? There's going to be a little bit of delay. I think I've asked you all my questions. Let me verify.
We touched on the salt, and you said that you're sensitive to salt too. Your family doesn't use a lot of salt.
No, corn. It's corn. We're sensible to corn, not salt.
Well, you find things are salty because you don't use a lot of salt at home.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Remember that you don't have to put the salt in when you're canning. It's just there for flavor unless you have a pickle recipe. So
I use the pink salt, and I find it tastes less. Like I put the same quantity, but like when I go to my mom and I use her salt, which is kosher salt, I can see the difference. Like it tastes much more salt. I'm not sure if it makes any sense.
It does. I use the pink Himalayan sea salt. It has a lot more minerals in it, which is better for your body. You know,
it gives that's the one I use.
And I use that for canning, and I don't have any problems with any of the black spots that you get with iodine salt.
I saw on Kirkland brand, because I buy the Kirkland brand at Costco, the 1 kilo. It's iodized now.
Ooh, I better watch out because I'm allergic to iodine, so that's why I use the pink salt.
And it says pink Himalayan salt, and on the box it says iodized. It's the first time I see it.
Oh, yeah, I can't have anything with iodine.
Look, I don't know if it's a Canadian thing. Just check your label on your pink salt if that's where the Kirkland brand. I was so happy I found a place where I could buy a kilo instead of buying those little bags at Walmart. Yes. But like when my husband came back from Costco, it's the first thing I saw. It says now iodized. It did not say it before. I don't know if it's a Canadian requirement or.
You can still use it for canning. Just know that it's going to put black spots on your lid and black spots on your food. It'll have little stain spots.
I only use salt in my tomatoes. Actually, no. In every recipe it says to use salt. I use salt. But like to raw pack, or I always end up putting a little bit of salt.
Yeah. Unless you're doing a pickling recipe, you don't have to have the salt in there.
When I do pickling, I used to buy the pickling salt, but this year I couldn't find any, so I had to use the pink salt.
Yeah.
So it's totally a Canadian thing. We gotta love Canadians for certain things.
Well, they do put the iodine salt here, but they do sell it without.
Yeah. I think it's because they have to you know, when I don't know if you realize sometimes your pink salt is a little bit more pink. Other times it's a little bit lighter. Other times, like it's never the same color. Same thing for cane sugar. I think they want to normalize colors, and that's probably why they iodize it. Well, that's what we thought.
Do you ever remember the like, you may be too young. Before they put iodine in the salt, you used to see guys, especially men, with great big Adam's apples. They were big and round and they stuck way out. It's called a goiter. And men would get that from having an iodine deficiency. And it was more prevalent in men than women. But women can get it too. And
I had goiter.
That's why they put the iodine in.
I had goiter when I was 12.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's why they put the iodine in to help prevent that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
We learn every day. But at home, my mom would always buy the fake salt. It's herbal, salty, and
Yes.
there's a little bit of salt, and that's what she would buy. So I was never really exposed to iodine salt, but I did have medication for it to control the goiter. And now I have thyroid's issue. Like I started with that, and then it ended up being thyroid.
Yes.
Remy says, my wife is really sensitive to salt because of her disease, so it's good to know. Okay. I've read that. Okay. It's the first time I see you, Fox, on one of my lives. Hello and welcome. I have asked every single question I had written down. Now I'm going to leave to the viewers if they have a question for you. I know I'm looking forward to Cannes this year. A lot of salsa. I'm almost
Is that
out
your
of
favorite
salsa.
thing to can?
No. My favorite thing to can. Okay, I love growing tomatoes, but canning tomatoes is very time consuming. I would say I love canning hot pepper relish.
Ooh, okay. Like the cowboy candy?
No. It's you just take 10 cups of, it's super easy. That's why I love it. You take 10 cups of peppers. There's a little pickling going, like there's sugar, salt, and vinegar. Instead of using cucumbers, I use pepper relish in my hot dogs. Oh, it's delicious. I'd make one super sweet for the kids, and I make one 8 cups sweet, 2 cups hot, and it's not too hot, but not too sweet. So it's just enough to give you like a little kick, but not like it's too hot. So I really love it, and I put it in anything that uses pepper. And let's just say I'm out of frozen pepper, I'm too lazy to go to the freezer to go get peppers. I just empty a jar of the sweet pepper relish in my recipes. It's really nice. And it's a good way to, when you have like a big pepper harvest and you have no idea what to do with it, like I freeze half and then I do that recipe. I enjoy salsa too. But canning tomato is I enjoy eating.
Do you have a food mill to do your tomatoes?
My food mill died.
See, you would like tomatoes better if you could just put them through, as I'm doing the crank.
I had one. I had an electric one, and it died on me last year. Last summer. But I found a way of doing tomatoes a super easy way. I can't remember what was her name. Melissa K. Norris. She has a blog and she also has a YouTube channel. She washes her tomatoes, her paste tomatoes. She roasts them. She leaves them on the counter for 5 minutes so that you can handle the skin. She peels off the skin, and I forgot. She halves them, removes the interior seeds and all of that, and then she roasts them, and then she just puts them in to cook them down, and she passes them zip, 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 and that's it. So I'm gonna try this way this year. And diced tomatoes, I just blanch my tomatoes and I peel them, and then I chop them easily. But I did love that I didn't have I just had to quarter my tomatoes, put them in the machine, and it was super fast and it was really not complicated. But the way that they're designed, the new machines, they're all in plastic. They're not stainless steel. So the liquid would explode everywhere inside the machine, and those little teeth, they accumulated juice of tomato, but I couldn't see it because it was inside the motor of the machine, and then they would like set off, and at one point they came off, but it nicked So I have to change the motor because it blew.
Oh.
And because it makes this noise, so it's super fun. Like I have like an airplane in my kitchen when I do it. And at one point it just falls off. So I have to replace the shaft, like the motor, the shaft, and the tools. The machine was $199 to replace all the parts. It's over $100 without shipping. So I said, screw that. I think I'm just gonna find a used one, that I can do it by hand.
The Victrola. They're called the Victrola.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm gonna start looking. People are doing it's getting good outside, and they're gonna clean out their stuff, grandmas or stuff like that. Estate sales. I'm just gonna grab one. And Annie from Mama Homemade showed me that you can use a drill and make an adapter and to use your drill. So my husband has like so many drills. So during the summer, he can just leave me a drill and I can just use the adapter and get it done. But if the method of Melissa K. Norris works, I won't need it. I won't need a new machine. I won't need to make a new big investment because I didn't want to pay $700 for the stainless steel one, but I should have. I should have looked for one used and made the investment of like a little bit over the $200 I made, and I wouldn't have that problem.
I have an Amish hardware here, and they have the replacement parts.
The what?
In stainless. An Amish hardware store.
Yeah.
And they have the replacement parts in stainless steel.
We don't have that here. Here, I don't know why they do this to us. They sell so many stuff, but the parts are never from here. So the shipping bites our butt. And instead of like fixing it, we just end up buying and buying and buying. So it's like, it's encouraging this consumer.
Consumerism. Yeah.
Yeah. So like if the parts would be affordable, I would have ordered them. We've opened the machine already, so the warranty is waived because we needed to check what was the problem. So the machine was a year old. It was over warranty. So when I opened it, I knew whatever was happening, it was my responsibility.
Yeah.
But then when they told me the price of the parts, I'm like, you're serious? Like, you're just encouraging me to buy a new machine. And or what they do, they no longer have the parts. It's discontinued. You have to get the newer model because the parts of the newer model don't fit in the old model. So I have those two situations. Yeah, the money. So I really hope that this method works because that means I'll just have to find one like used in if ever I want to make juice, or if the method doesn't work, I can just use that. I'm going to catch up on messages. Everything seems to be better in the US so much I end up marrying an American. What is the one thing you never can but looking forward to?
I'll say moose now. No. I've canned a lot of things. It's hard to think of something I haven't canned. That's a hard question. I'm going to have to say moose because it's the one thing I've never canned, and now I'm, going to have to look for some moose. I haven't canned buffalo, but I think I could get buffalo around here. So maybe I'll do buffalo. Maybe I'll say buffalo. I would
say, since I would like to try chili this year. Stew for express meals. And like you said, I want to do breasts. And I want to do not the thigh, the other part of the thigh, the
leg.
Yeah, the leg. I want to do the legs. Like I want we process chickens and we just freeze them whole. And I find that sometimes when I'm in a rush or in a crunch, I won't take out the chicken out of the freezer because it's going to take an entire day to thaw off. But if I take, let's just say I take 10 of my chickens and I process them, I will have express meals that will be easier on me for those nights that I don't have the head to cook.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if I do this question on the flip side, what is something you have canned but have regret canning after?
Tomato relish. It was disgusting. I'm not a big tomato fan. And so I thought, oh, I'll do this tomato relish because we had a huge bumper crop of tomatoes, and I had people were giving me tomatoes all over the place.
Red
so
tomatoes
like,
or green?
Red.
Red.
And so I thought I will try. It's a tomato jam kind of. I said relish, but it's tomato jam.
Yeah, I've heard
so
of
it's
it.
like got a lot of sugar in it and tomatoes. I have no idea what to do with it. I have all of this canned. I really want my jars back, and I've got like 12 half pints of it, and no one will eat it. It tastes disgusting to me. I don't like sugar, sweet. Like I can't even make it into tomato sauce because it's got too much sugar in it. I don't know what to do with this to recycle it to make it good.
Well, if it wasn't from the sugar, I was going to tell you give it to your chickens, but there's probably too much sugar in it.
Yeah, it's like a jam. It's just like a jelly, but like I'm not going to put tomatoes on my toast. What do I do with it? It wouldn't even be good with cream cheese on a cracker. It's too sweet.
Could you, those in stews? Could you like add like a couple of spoons in stews that had like?
It's too sweet.
It's that sweet.
It's that sweet. Yeah, okay. It's like sugary, and I mean I put little sugar on my sliced tomatoes. I don't eat them with salt. I eat them sliced tomatoes raw with sugar. It's still too sweet. I like that, and I won't eat this jam.
Well, I think your compost pile will be.
It's going there. I want my jars and my lids and my rings back.
I've been on a few of your lives, just don't always make myself known or sees. Most time everyone goes live when I'm at work. Oh, sorry. This is the only time I can go live, and even now, like with the kids being up, it makes it super complicated, but like I'm still trying to figure out when to go live on my other channel. I haven't went live on my French channel, and I'm sure that people wants to meet me after a year of me publishing, but like I don't have any available spots like with the kids and all. But
I am friends on both your channels.
Oh, I didn't know you were on the French.
Yes. I don't like comment on that one because I've already seen it on the other one, but
now last year it was like different content, but since like my time is like super precious, like I try to do a little bit different flavor, but usually what's on the English ends up being recycled on the French. Because last year I had a bit more time, but this year my youngest is in school and it's not going well. So instead of being full days like it was supposed to, it's 3 hours. So I'm kidless only for 3 hours, but like there's so little you can do in 3 hours.
I know.
But
my son has come in 3 times just during this, and he knew I was doing it, and he still came in 3 times. So.
Well, I had to put like a big thing in front of the door, and 2 of my kids at this point have been knocking on the door, but I didn't answer yet. But like I planned it. They can't open the door. I put something heavy in front of the door. I meant that all the boys are dated before. We were just that. Oh, that's not for me. Totally need your pepper relish, Annie. It's not my recipe. I found it on YouTube. It's Starry Hilder, I think. Something like that. I will have to figure it out. I have to find it, but I printed it. But I think is Starry Hilder's recipe. Menu acres. Oh, that's not for me. I used to have one in plastic, but my friend find me a cast iron one. I think she's talking about.
Yeah, because we both do the.
Yeah, we're doing the same thing. I think that's. Hello, is it Chris or is it Steph from Hickory Croft Farm? Did the new seeds from plug that got in spread? No, not yet. No, actually that's not true. I have some that are popping up because I had a mouse that was eating my seedlings. Little I caught the mouse.
Good. Good.
I caught the mouse, poor soul. But I know they have to exist. They have a purpose. I still don't know what it is in my house, but it's my food, so I had to get rid of it.
I love to see them outside.
Well, they can't really survive outside. My neighbor's cat is like on duty for mouse, and the cat actually leaves the prize next to my husband's truck every morning. So every morning, my husband has a couple of mouse.
He likes your husband a lot.
I don't know. Like it's next to, not my car, his truck. So last year, every couple of days, he would say, "God, that cat's been busy. Like I have so many mouse," and he was actually catching birds that I didn't really like because they were, even though birds can actually be sometimes a hassle, I don't like. So he went after nests, like he went in little trees and he went to get the birds. I told my neighbor, I'm like, please, I know that she can't do anything, but if she put something in maybe like a little bell, maybe the birds would go away. But I don't like seeing those little baby birds dead next to my husband's garden. At least I don't find them in my garden. Yes. He I think it's a he goes in my garden and removes all the bad ones. But I don't understand why my husband's truck, it's not even our cat, it's my neighbor's cat.
He likes your husband. They do that. They leave them for the person they like the most.
But he doesn't even talk to the cat. He just says hi to the cat. That's it. Like, that's it. He just talks to the cat.
The cat likes him.
Maybe. We'll see. It's both of us. Hello, both of you guys. Bye, Annie. We'll chat later. Did I have any more questions for Tammy? Because I do. It is magic hour. It's close to 7:30, and I'm starting to hear my kids louder and louder downstairs. I want, before I read all the questions, if I have more questions, I want to thank you for coming, answering all the people's questions and my questions.
Anytime.
Birds are lovely, but they can so destructive in a garden. I don't have that problem with birds. What I've done is I have created a sunflower garden for them. So the squirrels and the birds are no longer eating my tomatoes or my peppers. I do have lost somewhere else, but at least I solved that problem by giving them a little bit of food.
Nice.
But like, be prepared. If like you put sunflowers all over your property, you're gonna see a lot of squirrels. Like I see them, let's just say that sunflowers this big, like they hang themselves like head down, butts in the air to grab the seeds. Oh, just give me a second. I have one of my sons that are here. I'll be back.
Okay. I have a small squirrel problem. Every year they come and they take away my spring flower bulbs and plant them in different places. So I never know where my daffodils are going to come up. They won't eat them because they don't taste good, but they like to replant them in interesting spots. So it's my own fault. I leave them walnuts.
So sorry. I had one of my kids putting things under the door.
Oh, note. Here, Mom. Here's a note.
Yeah. I don't think people has questions for you. We'll wait one more minute. If I'll do a community post this week to see if there are some more questions, and we'll see from there. That's kind of funny that they just.
While you were gone, I was telling them my squirrel problem is they move my daffodils. I plant them and then they replant them in different places, so I never know where they're going to show up in the garden.
They do that at my parents with their tulips.
They won't eat them because they're poisonous, but they just I have to keep moving them back where I want them.
I don't know. They probably think it's nuts. They probably look like little shit. I have a million questions, but we have another 5 minutes. Okay, so Remy, write them down. send them to me or write them on the community post, and we can have maybe a part 2.
Yeah, certainly.
Digs Outdoor. We're actually closing the live, but I hope you ate well. If you have questions for Tammy, it's the time, because I usually leave around 7:30 to go put the kids to bed, especially the little one. My youngest is 5, and he becomes like, it's 7:25, he's an angel, but like 7:29 and 30 seconds is like the little devil comes out. Good night, Jill. Okay, so I'll write down the questions and I'll message you. And let me know when you have your email so I can celebrate with you.
Yeah, I'm just waiting. They're approving my AdSense because it was I set it up in anticipation so long ago that it has to be reactivated. So they're reactivating that, and then hopefully I'll get my next check after that.
Okay, well, it's just a matter of time. I know you'll get it. It's just a matter of days. You have to be patient. Well, take care, everyone. I'm super happy to have received you. And everyone have a very nice week. Bye.
Bye-bye.